Hi, I'm Nan Simonsen, and I am currently working with Dr. Brooke Goldner in her Goodbye Autoimmune Rapid Recovery group. It's been an amazing experience. I'm only in my 12th day. It's a 42-day program, in other words, 6 weeks, and I'm learning so much. This is actually the second time I've worked the program, the food part of the program, and thought I was working the lifestyle part. You see, I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach. I've been studying nutrition, whole food, plant-based nutrition, eating that way, going on 7 years now. And I work with a lifestyle as medicine, a lifestyle medical clinic under the name of Blue Zones Health. So I know these things, I know what lifestyle is, and yet I'm learning so much in the group. I'm not going to go into everything. I am doing some videos to update you or anyone interested every few days, 3, 4, 5. And when there's something that I've learned, that I've applied, that I can teach, I will do that. In any case, I'm making dinner for myself. Over here, I have a pot of chili with mushrooms and savory ingredients and kidney beans and lentils, and my husband's going to have it alongside of brown rice and a bowl of steamed vegetables. Will I have any of that? No. Because this is a very specific protocol. It is high raw, only fruits and vegetables, a prescribed amount of fruit, a no maximum amount of leafy greens and cruciferous vegetables, but there's a minimum. So we hit our numbers because the point of everything in this program is to heal. It can be to heal at the cellular level. It can be to heal from autoimmune diseases. I have 2 of them, and I'm trying to get rid of those inflammatory markers. That's my whole thing. And they went way down, one completely gone, something I've worked on for 6 years. But when I went back to eating my whole food plant-based diet, that one went back up. So there's something about what I'm doing that isn't working that well. It may be a food, it may be a specific food. I'm praying it's not soy because I do a lot of cooking with tofu. But there's something, and you know what it could be? I don't want to admit it. It could be something up here, in here. In other words, it could be the way I live my life, allowing certain periods of stress to interfere with what would happen naturally with my body if that weren't the case. So I'm done with that explanation, and I am making dinner. I don't get that. And I have been happy, very happy for, these 12 days, most of them, making a big smoothie with over a pound, a little over a pound of leafy green cruciferous vegetables, and then fruit, and then flax and chia seeds, and huge amounts of water every day, at least 96 ounces. Good with all of that. But I decided to make something that I hadn't made yet. Now, I don't know if you can see all of my little bookmarks here, because I've made a number of things out of her marvelous book, Dr. Brooke Goldner's Goodbye Lupus, Hello Delicious. And today I'm going to make something I haven't made before, but I also did something before I checked out the recipe. Now, I will not plagiarize and give this recipe. I may not. I may not. But I'll show you what I'm doing. If you're a creative person, play around with these ingredients. More importantly, get the book. The book is marvelous. But I wanted to read you something, because some of these recipes are from Dr. Goldner or her family, but some of them, most of them, are from people who healed themselves from autoimmune diseases making these foods, all under the protocol, all something that if it's here, we get to eat it. And I wanted to read you this person's story. I'm not going to give her name, even though it's right here in the book, because she's the contributor of this really tasty looking and creative, she used fresh herbs, recipe. But here it is. Barely 2 months after my daughter was born, I had multiple strokes caused by a blood clotting disorder called APS and was diagnosed with lupus. The strokes caused post-stroke epilepsy. After several bad seizures and zero hope from the doctors, I decided to give Dr. Goldner a call. She was given no hope with her lupus and her seizures and her brain, I want to say clots, but pay attention to what she posts and you'll know her story. The point is, she was told she may not live. She found out she had lupus at, I believe, 16. She was told she'd never have babies. She was told that she had a limited time and there was nothing they could do for her but prescribe. And then well, that's another long story, but she and her husband came up with the formula that healed her, that this program is all about. All right, and that was 19 years ago, it may be 20 now. So on with this story. After several bad seizures, I decided to give Dr. Goldner a call. Dr. Goldner's protocol helped me put my very aggressive lupus into remission and turn my very scary blood clotting disorder, APS, from positive to negative on my blood reports. I completed Dr. Goldner's rapid recovery group, that's what I'm doing now, in March of 2019. November 2019, my rheumatologist called to advise me that my diet had been contributing to my health and I no longer had to take medications for my lupus and my APS. I owe my life to Dr. Goldner. She helped me have the courage to take care of my own body and destiny. Thank you once again for getting rid of my lupus. Do her program before you suffer the damage. So, I don't know this person, but I admire her tremendously for making a very good decision and then working it. Because we can take her program, not work her program, and not see results. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'll show you a photo, and this is her photo. Look at this. This is cannelloni with a tomato sauce. Wait a minute, man. You said nothing but vegetables. Cannelloni would be usually in a shell that is a pasta. Well, this is zucchini. The inside is cauliflower and avocado. Over the top is a fresh chopped tomato sauce, all fresh foods, nothing cooked. So we're doing this together. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is slice 2 large zucchini. Well, what's a large zucchini? That's so relative. So I'm just using these. They could have been larger, they could have been smaller. But one thing that I have that I love, oh man, do you not have it out? Of course I do. Is my mandolin. A mandolin is something that is a plain, and you can slice anything with it to get even slices. You can even julienne something, which means that you get strips. Anyway, strips or a grated, but they're cleaner than a grate because they are more formed by these square blades. Well, straight blades that make square pieces. But do not get a mandolin unless you then buy yourself some cutting gloves. I have cut myself on my mandolin. I've learned how to store it. You never store it with the blade exposed. That way, with or without the glove, you can do that to clean it. I take away that shelf of the exposed blade before I even wash it. If you have one, you'll know. This one, oh gosh. I got it from Amazon. It's Progressive. Progressive brand. I don't know what it was, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe $20. It's just so handy. I've got this on the number 2 level, and let me show you what happens. I'm not going to do all of these. I'll go back and do them later. But my goal is to get long, clean slices. Well, that didn't work. But see the slices that I have? Now I'm going to tell you something. If I don't get it the way I want it, I can do this with any kind of a vegetable. It doesn't have to be sliced zucchini. I'm trying to figure out why. Oh, I know why I'm not getting full slices. That's interesting, and I don't know how to work around that. Let me see if I can do it one more time. Oh, that's a shame. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right, we're fine. There, look what I have here. I'm going to see how many I can get from here, and then I'll stop. And I'll do the rest later. Because this isn't something I'm cooking. It's not like if I don't do it right now, I can't do it later. I can do it at any time. I could put the whole thing away and make these tomorrow. All right, I think that's it before I get to nothing but skin. See, if I didn't have this glove, I wouldn't dare have my hands this close. All right, so I have, one just broke, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, and then I have these pieces that the filling that is put inside could be simply put onto, and then a little dribble of the tomato, and I can eat it like a appetizer, as if it was a crudité. Now, the instructions call for brushing these with with some flavor. Would I have to do that? No. But the flavor that she is asking, or that she came up with here, get all this out of the way, is a combination of water, a little bit of salt, so not a lot of water, not a lot of salt. It's, in my case, I reduced what was called for. I reduced it to about 1/3 of a cup, and a few tablespoons of Bragg's liquid aminos. Don't mistake those for coconut aminos, nothing like it. The closest thing would be soy sauce, or in my case, tamari, which doesn't have gluten, and Bragg's liquid aminos doesn't have gluten either. But it's made a little different than a soy sauce or a tamari because Bragg's liquid aminos have not been fermented, and some people have an allergy, a histamine sensitivity. Now, if you have watched my channel for any length of time, you know I'm whole food, plant-based, not SOS free, salt, oil, sugar free. I use some salt. I do not use oil in my cooking, and no sugar at all. If I'm going to sweeten something, it would be with date paste or the sweetness of fruit. However, on this protocol, we are heavy into the effect of the omega-3 fatty acids on what they do for our body. And this is researched, and this is part of the reason people heal on this protocol and heal so well. A abundance of omega-3 fatty acids. The only thing we can get them from easily and in a most concentrated form is flaxseed, chia seed, whole ground at the last moment, because the omega-3s oxidize very quickly in the air or in heat, so you can't heat them. If you make something and you whir it in the blender and it sits there too long, or at least it's exposed to air, exposed to oxygen, it will oxidize. When you buy okay, finish my thought. Another exchange for the flax seeds would be flax or chia cold pressed oil. And even Dr. Goldner has explained that she hasn't seen chia oil. I haven't seen it, but flax oil you can find. I get, this one is Barlean's, but there are a lot of them. This one has lignans, which is the fibrous part. Some people have a problem with that in digestion, so you can get lignin free. I like organic everything, pure and unfiltered, and cold pressed. And we're calling for 2 tablespoons. This stuff is so thick. I call it axle grease. It's not quite that thick, but you'll see what I mean. When you put it on a spoon, it's on that spoon. Okay, so I have water, the liquid aminos, and you know what's remarkable about the liquid aminos? 1 teaspoon. Now, you know what a teaspoon is. This is a tablespoon. How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Pop quiz, 3. In other words, teeny, they're small. 1 teaspoon of liquid aminos is 1 gram of protein. That is huge amount of protein for a little thing like that. So yes, this is a protein source. Okay, even though it's not explained that way or promoted that way. And then I have, oh, here, smell. I went to my garden because she likes fresh herbs, and she used a couple of sprigs of rosemary. That's the rosemary. We have some thyme in there as well. And so I thought that was really sort of a culinary bell ringer in my book. All right. And what I'm doing now is I'm simply brushing this on the, I could probably dip it, but I'm afraid they'll break further. And I'm simply brushing it on here. All of this goes away. And I will be able to use this ongoing. When I make this again, I could put this into a salad dressing, because this is, the more we have of these omega-3s, the better we are. Some people have asked, but what's the maximum? And one answer is whatever your body can take, because too much of the oil can give somebody digestive problems and loosen their bowels too much. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to create what goes into the sauce and the sauce. So we'll leave that there, and I'm going to move over my Vitamix. You're used to seeing this. It's a Vitamix. I make my smoothie in this every day. This Vitamix is the Ascent series. In this big carafe, I've put little dots because I can't see their, anyway, it's very hard to tell where you are in terms of capacity. Way down here, though, is 64 ounces. My smoothies go to the top. My smoothies are 92-ounce smoothies, and I drink them, the whole thing, every day. Okay, with all of those phenomenal healing foods in them. So, why did I take that apart? Because the Ascent series has a food processor attachment. See? That's all part of it. So I can wash this, take it off, and wash it and empty it and all of that. Okay. And I'm going to put in here the cauliflower. First of all, to what people call rice it. She didn't use that term, but that's what happens when you pulse cauliflower, and you can buy it riced, you can buy it riced and frozen. But a lot of people have realized that cauliflower is really nice, even though it is somewhat sulfurous because it's part of the cruciferous family. This is a cruciferous vegetable. and they have a sulfurous kind of a smell and flavor. They tend to blend in a recipe so well, and the cauliflower tends to be so mild that some people even think of it as buttery. All right, so I'm gonna pulse it. Okay, I have a little 5-month-old kitten, and she has a bell on her collar. That's what you're hearing if you hear the tinkly sound. The second I did this, whoosh, off she went. Okay, and then I'm going to add to this, and this is where I'm getting the flavor for the filling, some nutritional yeast, a couple tablespoons. I have some garlic that has been chopped, fresh garlic. I also have fresh chopped basil, and I'll leave a little bit for the tomato. She's calling for some thyme, and I'm just going to pull off just little bits of it because too much thyme can be a little bit overwhelming. And actually, I'm putting it in this, and I think her main directive was to put it in the tomato as well, but we'll do both. And I have, see, I'm left-handed, so I can't, oh, there, I can do it where you can see. This is a really big avocado, and she calls for a half of it. And this is there's a fuerte, and there's a Haas, and there's a lot of different cultivars of avocado. But it's the fuerte that has the skin that is so thin. Oh, I'm making a mess of my glove, excuse me. Forgot to take off my glove. There. The skin is so thin that what I find is that I can just squeeze out the rest of my avocado. I didn't think this through because yes, I can do this pretty easily, but usually I'm then right there at the sink to wash my hands. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay. Now what we're doing is we're creating what would be the filling of the cannelloni. And what would that be? Quite often ricotta with herbs. So one more time, there goes the cat. Let's see if I was supposed to do anything more than that. Salt and pepper. I'm going to stir it because now it's starting to become, it's starting to hold together, and that's what we want. I'm going to show this to you. It's really cool. It looks a little like egg salad, and if you, like me, haven't eaten an egg in 5 or 6 years, that's probably not particularly appealing. And you may say, wow, look at that salt. You're putting so much salt. Because we're drinking a gallon of water a day, or at least 96 ounces, our body would be depleted of sodium if we didn't have salt. As a matter of fact, if people do poorly on the protocol, it's usually because they are doing what I would have done. Oh no, I won't have the salt, or I won't have the omega-3s. And we're not getting the full benefit. So in this protocol, I have those rules. I think that's enough. So I'm going to show you now. Let's see. Take this off. And show you what I've created. See, look at this. See that? It smells fabulous. It reminds me of a chunky ricotta with some basil in it. Let's see what it tastes like. Oh, that's really nice. Well, now I'm sorry I didn't make more of it, because I could put this in the refrigerator and use it for just about anything. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to spoon this out. Can you see? Because then we make the tomato sauce. And I love this part of her recipe. I think it was so gracious of her. Because instead of being encouraged to wash out the bowl, she said just in the same bowl, go ahead and make your tomato sauce. Isn't that lovely? Yay! And for the tomato sauce, I have some cherry tomatoes. Why cherry tomatoes? They have so much less, is that a proper English? They have far less juice than a lot of tomatoes. So they make a thicker sauce when we are not cooking our tomatoes. And I like a thicker sauce. And then I have a chopped piece of raw garlic. I also have about 1.5 chopped Roma tomatoes. Those have a little more juice, and that's the point of that. And then I have a couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Now, this has become a bit of a bone of contention. Oh, and the rest of the the basil, fresh basil. And you can buy that. I'm here in Southern California, and we've had a very mild winter. I think we're up to, year to date, 6 or 7 inches of rain. We're supposed to have 15. It's going to be an interesting year that way. But the reason I brought up the balsamic vinegars, it's become very, very popular to use flavored balsamic vinegars. They are all, most of these thick, syrupy balsamic vinegars are 4% acidity, not 6, and most vinegar is 6. And they have a lot of grape must, which is grapes cooked down, added, which in essence is like taking the juice from ground cherries, cooking it down and then eating it with a spoon. What do you think you're getting? Basically sugar. So I found, and her directive is if you can find it at 2 grams of sugar or less per tablespoon, then go ahead and use it. I found one at 3. And it happened to be this one from Trader Joe's. Their balsamic vinegar of Modena. And okay, so if you couldn't find the right balsamic, then use a vinegar like a wine vinegar. It's just going to be a little bit more acidic and a little bit less, there'll be less nuance, less umami. If you can get umami from a vinegar, yeah, you kind of can. Okay. I'm going to stop this, pulse it. And let's see how this is. Now I want it a little more pulsed. Sorry for the noise. All right, that's that. All right, so let me show you my meal. And, excuse me just a moment. So we have the cannelloni shells, in other words, the wraps, and the salt, both in the Bragg's aminos and the liquid and the salt that was in it have made these pliable. Can you see that? If I hadn't done that, or if they hadn't sat out a while, they may not have been pliable. And what I'm doing is I'm going to create a little cannelloni, roll it up. And the beauty is I get to have as many of these. Can you see? I can get to have as many of these as I can, I'll say it this way, as I can possibly eat. Another popular thing that I've seen going on in in this space is to slice zucchini like this, put it together, and then roll it the way you would, oh, let's say to make sushi. If you had a long piece of, what am I trying to say? A piece of nori, rice, except we're not using rice, and nori, and roll the whole thing together like this, and then slice it into slices rather than rolling it into rolls. Some of you are thinking, oh, I know what she's talking about. Some of you are thinking, what? And that's another way of using zucchini the way you would. Okay, I think I'll do, if you don't mind, I'll do 2 more. My husband gets his big old bowl of chili. I'm gonna get my big old bowl of cannelloni, and 1 more. So what do I have here? Goodness sakes, I have a zucchini, I have cauliflower, the nutritional yeast has already imbued this with sort of a cheesiness that I can even smell as I'm doing this. The Bragg's liquid aminos give it a bit of a saltiness, as well as, again, more umami. And I'm now going to spoon on it. My sauce. I know I'll want some raw onion with it because I really like that. And oh, well, let's decorate it with, oops, with a piece of rosemary. Look how pretty this is. Well, that's my dinner tonight. I won't be so envious. There are times, I must admit, that I'm serving my husband something that when I step down from this, I won't stay high raw. A lot of people do. They like it so much. It's so convenient. You can eat anywhere and just grab whatever you find in a bag at a store and just eat it right out of the bag. Guacamole makes a great dip for whatever vegetable you want to eat. And some people stay high raw. I will go back to eating my soups and stews, whole food, plant-based, no animal product, no oil, except I will continue to hypernourish, which means the pound to pound and a half of greens and cruciferous vegetables every day, the omega-3 fatty acids, as well as water. And gosh, a number of these kinds of foods. I hope you got something out of this. Give me a thumbs up, please subscribe, and you'll hear more about her protocol, about my experience with it, and when all of this is, let's say, a part of my, what I do on a regular basis, I still will be cooking the way I have for 7 years now, whole food, plant-based. See you soon. Bye-bye. Oops.